AEW President Tony Khan refuses to comment on rumors of Ricochet heading to All Elite Wrestling whilst he's still under contract with WWE. The Elite announced their participation in the 2024 AEW Blood and Guts match and are seeking a fifth partner to compete with them in the bout. Will Ospreay retains the AEW International Championship and tries on the AEW World Championship last night on Dynamite. Jack Perry qualifies for the TNT Championship match at Forbidden Door. An update on Scott D'Amore's future in professional wrestling after his exit as the president of TNA Wrestling. Mercedes Monae retains the TBS Championship and she'll defend the title at Forbidden Door. WWE United States Champion Logan Paul interviews former President Donald Trump on his impulsive podcast. Tony Khan teases what to expect from AEW Collision's upcoming residency in Texas. R.D. Evans, formerly of TNA Wrestling, has joined the AEW creative team. MJF's first AEW match in 6 months is announced for next week's edition of AEW Dynamite. More details on plans for what's going to happen after Clash at the Castle this weekend when it comes to a press conference, a post-show. We'll let you know all the details on that. The ratings are in for Tuesday's edition of WWE NXT. It looks like the former Maximum Male models could be on AEW Collision this weekend, and AEW reportedly has held contract talks with the grizzled young veterans. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling. Let's start off talking about AEW President Tony Khan, who's been asked about Ricochet amid rumors that the former Intercontinental and United States Champion is set to leave WWE upon the expiration of his contract next month. And Tony Khan doesn't want to talk about Ricochet. Ricochet was seemingly written off WWE programming on Monday night amid reports that he does not plan to re-sign with the company. Khan was asked about the possibility of his company signing Ricochet during a recent interview with TV Insider, but responded that he's not going to talk about wrestlers still contracted to other organizations. He said, quote, "If it's okay, I'd rather not get into wrestlers that still work for someone else." Khan responded to a question about Ricochet. Now, it has been reported that the prevailing belief is that Ricochet is headed to AEW. Nobody has confirmed that as of right now, according to Dave Meltzer, only that he has made his decision regarding that he is going to be leaving WWE upon the expiration of his contract. Of course, last month, AEW's Will Ospreay described WWE's use of his former rival as appalling and said he hoped to wrestle him again. He said, quote, "I just want people to remember who he is. If you go and look at 2012-2013, Dragon Gate Ricochet, he was untouchable at the time. I don't know how much longer he has got in his contract, but I think it might be up soon, man. I don't know, maybe. I want him to know that there are people here that genuinely appreciate his work, and I want to wrestle him again. I want him back here. I want him to know that there isn't a bar, you are the effing bar." So what are your thoughts when it comes to Tony Khan's comments or lack thereof on Ricochet? Does that just add more smoke to the fire that soon he could be becoming All Elite? Let me know your thoughts about that in the comment section below. Now, Blood and Guts is back. It's on the horizon, and the Elite will be participating this year. The Elite are ready to spill some blood and guts with the announcement of the 2024 match. They are looking for a fifth man for their team. Matthew and Nicholas Jackson, alongside Kazuchika Okada and Jack Perry, interrupted the opening segment of AEW Dynamite on Wednesday when AEW World Champion Swerve Strickland was addressing the crowd regarding his own match against Will Ospreay coming up at Forbidden Door. The Young Bucks touted the most recent accomplishments, including winning Anarchy in the Arena at Double or Nothing, and said that now they're ready to address some more serious business. Nicholas said the Elite are now challenging AEW's best in the most violent match in the company, Blood and Guts. Now, it was later revealed when that will be taking place. Matthew addressed Strickland and noted that the match is traditionally 5-on-5. He asked the world champion to be their fifth man and offered him a pair of their new sneakers. Strickland had Prince Nana throw the sneakers into the crowd and said he was a businessman who does things on his own. The Acclaimed, who recently have had problems with the Young Bucks, specifically over their World Tag Team Championships, ran down to the ring and a brawl ensued before new interim EVP Christopher Daniels put a stop to things. With AEW's Forbidden Door pay-per-view already coming coming up on June 30. The Young Bucks did not announce when Blood and Guts would be taking place, but it was revealed later on in the evening that Blood and Guts 2024 will take place on July 24, 2024 in Nashville, Tennessee at the Bridgestone Arena. So who do you think is going to be the fifth man on Team Elite, and who do you think they're going to be facing off against? Let me know your thoughts and predictions for that one in the comment section below. Now, speaking of Swerve Strickland, his opponent Will Ospreay at Forbidden Door retained his AEW International Championship last night on Dynamite. Will Ospreay took a shot at his Forbidden Door opponent while retaining his AEW International Championship, telling AEW World Champion Swerve Strickland that AEW Dynamite was his house. Ospreay defeated Rey Fenix to retain his title on Dynamite and did so with Strickland's finisher. Ospreay and Fenix started off the fast-paced match by trading blows and impressive counters. Towards the end of the match, Ospreay was able to hit Fenix with an Os Cutter. Fenix battled back, charging at Ospreay before eating a strike. Ospreay then climbed to the top rope while Fenix was laid out below, looked at Strickland at ringside and hit a swerve stomp and his own hidden blade for the victory. Following Ospreay's title retention, Strickland got in the ring to stare him down. Ospreay offered his hand, but Strickland chose not to shake it and got in the challenger's face instead. The world champion told Ospreay he's not strong enough to hold both belts and turned to leave. Ospreay grabbed Strickland's world championship and slung it over his own shoulder opposite his own titles. That earned him a whispered warning from Strickland, who then left the ring alongside Prince Nana. The pair stared each other down as Dynamite ended. Of course, Ospreay and Strickland will go head-to-head on June 30 on Long Island at Forbidden Door for Swerve's AEW World Championship. Speaking of titles and Forbidden Door, Jack Perry has qualified for the AEW TNT Championship ladder match taking place at the pay-per-view. Jack Perry is heading to Forbidden Door after the Young Bucks' initial attempt to gift the vacant AEW TNT Championship to Perry. Perry will once again have a chance to win the title in a ladder match. On AEW Dynamite, Perry defeated Dustin Rhodes to advance to Forbidden Door's ladder match to determine the new TNT champion. Perry bloodied Rhodes and then wiped the blood of Dustin Rhodes on his chest before delivering the killing blow. Perry had been hand-chosen by Executive Vice Presidents Matthew and Nicholas Jackson as a future champion. Currently, Perry is the only member of the new configuration of the Elite to not hold AEW Gold at present. Perry joined the group at AEW Dynasty, where he helped the Young Bucks win the AEW World Tag Team Championships in a ladder match, possibly a harbinger of things to come at Forbidden Door. So Jack Perry now will be competing at that event for the TNT Championship. Now, this is really interesting. A big update when it comes to the pro wrestling future of Scott D'Amore. Now, in February, Anthem Entertainment shocked the wrestling world when they announced that TNA president Scott D'Amore would be leaving the company. D'Amore was replaced by Anthem's Anthony Sassone in the role after that. In a recent interview, AEW International Champion Will Ospreay suggested D'Amore could work with All Elite Wrestling to help with the Ring of Honor brand. Also, prior to his TNA departure, D'Amore worked with WWE in getting Jordynne Grace to appear in the 2024 Women's Royal Rumble match. Now, during a virtual signing for KNS WrestleFest, Rhino mentioned that the former TNA president is being paid through February 2025 by Anthem Entertainment. Now, PW Insider provided an update noting that Rhino's comments on Scott D'Amore are accurate and that D'Amore is also believed to have a non-compete clause. Now, this non-compete clause would prevent D'Amore from working for a national promotion in the United States or Canada through February 2025, which would prevent him from working for WWE, AEW, etc. Now, D'Amore's independent promotion, Border City Wrestling in Windsor, Ontario, will run their first live event since his TNA wrestling departure on June 15. If we get any more details on his status in wrestling, we'll let you know in the future, but that may explain why he hasn't shown up in AEW or WWE just yet. Now, going back to AEW Dynamite last night, Mercedes Monae was once again in action and retained her TBS championship. Monae is headed to Forbidden Door, still TBS champion, after defeating her opponent's tag team partner on Dynamite. Monae toppled Zexus, who is one half of the CMLL Women's World Tag Team Champions, alongside Monae's pay-per-view opponent, New Japan Strong Women's Champion Stephanie Vacqua. The two locked up the match to begin and went back and forth with submissions. Zexus hit a drop toe hold to Monae and got out of the ring before hitting a suicide dive, laying out the champion as the broadcast cut to a break. As the match rumbled on, Monae was able to kick out of a big move and hit a Monae Maker in the center of the ring for the victory. Her next advertised opponent is Vacqua at Forbidden Door on Long Island on June 30. The match is set to be title for title, with the New Japan Strong Women's Championship also on the line. So that match is now confirmed to be taking place at Forbidden Door now that Monae has retained her TBS Championship. And this was certainly a wild story yesterday regarding current WWE United States Champion Logan Paul. Now, whether it be in a WWE ring or outside of it, Logan Paul has never been one to shy away from courting controversy. But the United States Champion may have outdone himself this time with an announcement on Wednesday afternoon that is sure to cause division, both within the wrestling fan base and outside of it. Taking to X, Paul announced the guest for today's episode of Impulsive would be none other than former President of the United States, Donald Trump. Now, the post included a photo of Paul and Trump posing with the WWE United States Championship bout. A TikTok video posted by Trump soon after showed Paul and Trump jokingly facing off while a member of Paul's entourage held up the US title before the two began laughing and embraced. Now, it would be the first time that Donald Trump has crossed over into the world of professional wrestling, or at least someone associated with it. Trump is a WWE Hall of Famer, appeared at WrestleMania 23 in the Battle of the Billionaires with Vince McMahon. In addition to that, also, there were WrestleManias hosted in Trump Casino previously in the past as well. So, of course, if we get any more fallout from that, we'll let you know in a future video. Now, let's talk about the path to AEW All In. Tony Khan has teased what we could see at this residency later on this summer. Now, leading into All In at Wembley Stadium this August, AEW will be trying something a little bit different with AEW Collision. Instead of taking the show on the road, Collision will have a residency in Arlington, Texas's Esports Stadium from July 20 through August 17, with Ring of Honor Death Before Dishonor and an episode of AEW Rampage also emanating from the arena too. Speaking with TV Insider, AEW owner Tony Khan was asked about the residency and if he saw it as an experiment. Khan played coy on that, but believes the residency is a good opportunity for AEW to try something new. He said, quote, "The city of Arlington really wanted to work with us," Khan said. "It created a great opportunity for us to bring AEW to one of the hottest markets in pro wrestling. The Esports Stadium in Arlington is a beautiful facility. We think it will be a great home for pro wrestling. We have a rabid AEW fandom in Texas. We felt it would be an exciting time to bring AEW as part of this summer series and build these exciting shows and bring a unique feel to Saturday Night Collision on TNT. It will have its own different energy, distinct from what we do compared to Dynamite or Rampage, and potentially make this pilot program. We're hoping for a big success and continue to bring a series of great events and continue to deliver great wrestling, and doing so with a different business model. We move around the country a lot, and we want to continue doing that and open up new markets and visit different cities. But there is also excitement surrounding the potential of the summer series and setting up roots in one of the greatest wrestling territories of all time." Now, speaking of AEW, Tony Khan, of course, he runs the creative. He's head of creative, but there is a new creative member for All Elite Wrestling, and it's a former TNA wrestling creative writer. While AEW has made plenty of headlines regarding who they've added to their talent roster over the past year, they've also added plenty of names behind the scenes as well, including former WWE writer Jennifer Pepperman as the promotion's VP of Content Development. And much like the expanding roster, AEW is still looking to add help backstage, this time bringing in a former member of TNA's creative team. PW Insider reports that former TNA writer and former wrestler R.D. Evans is now All Elite, having begun working for AEW last weekend at Collision, with his presence further expected at last night's episode of Dynamite. Though it's assumed Evans is a part of AEW's creative team, his exact role in the promotion hasn't been confirmed beyond him working on backstage segments filmed at Collision. Now, Evans joins AEW just a few weeks after he departed TNA, ending a near 5-year run with the promotion. Reports have been conflicted regarding whether Evans was fired among the wave of backstage turnover and uncertainty within TNA, or if he left on his own volition. Those close to the situation agree that the situation had turned sour between TNA and Evans, with the latter said to have been increasingly frustrated with the promotion towards the end. Now, prior to his time in TNA, Evans was also best known for his runs as a manager in Ring of Honor, where his clients included AEW co-worker QT Marshall, and as a wrestler in Chikara, where he also portrayed a marching band leader turned time traveler Archibald Peck. Evans also served as a member of the WWE creative team from 2016 through 2019, when he quit during the WWE Hall of Fame ceremony following an argument with then WWE chairman Vince McMahon. So he is now on the AEW creative team. Now, former AEW World Champion MJF is going to be back in action for the first time in 6 months next week. The first match for MJF after his return to AEW has been confirmed, as announced on last night's episode of Dynamite. After his initial return at Double or Nothing, where he took out Adam Cole, MJF has been targeted by Roos of La Faction Ingobernables. With Forbidden Door coming up and the possibility the match would take place there, it's actually scheduled sooner than that. It was announced last night that MJF vs. Roos will open next week's June 19 episode of AEW Dynamite. It was also specifically mentioned that the match will feature no commercial breaks. MJF's last match was his loss to Samoa Joe at AEW World's End at the end of last year, after which he took 6 months off following to recover from injury issues. So MJF's going to be back in action next week, but I suppose the question then becomes, what do you think he does for Forbidden Door? It's in his hometown of Long Island, New York, so what happens with MJF? Let me know your thoughts about that one too. Now, Clash at the Castle is this weekend in Glasgow, Scotland, and there's been a bit of confusion as to what's going to happen after the show. Now, ahead of Saturday's premium live event, WWE has been advertising a post-show which will air immediately following Clash at the Castle. Now, it was later reported that WWE plans to alter plans for Clash at the Castle's press conference, with it being uncertain whether or not this post-show would feature any questions from the media. Now, John Pollock of Post Wrestling has now revealed that a WWE spokesperson told him that the press conference is happening in addition to the new post-show. Pollock took to Twitter to report, quote, "We inquired about the status of a post-show press conference at Clash at the Castle this weekend. A WWE spokesperson tells me that the press conference is happening, and they have also added a post-show." So there's going to be a press conference, there's going to be a post-show. There was a bit of confusion, but both are going to be happening this weekend. Let's talk about the ratings for this Tuesday's edition of WWE NXT. There was a lot of excitement coming out of Battleground and also the appearance of Cody Rhodes. This week's WWE NXT was the first show after Sunday's Battleground event at the UFC Apex and also featured the undisputed WWE champion Cody Rhodes. Rhodes announced next week we'll see a battle royal to determine the number one contender for the NXT Championship, but the audience was unable to be moved to tune in to Tuesday's show. According to WrestleNomics, NXT was viewed by 718,000 viewers overall, a 7% drop from last week's show. The 18 to 49 demographic was practically unchanged, scoring the same 0.22 rating in the highly coveted 18 to 49 demo. While the news looks worrisome in the short term, the long term NXT is up 15% in overall viewership since last June and up 22% in the 18 to 49 demographic since last June too. Over the last 4 weeks, the overall viewership is up 7% and the 18 to 49 demographic is also up 10%. So, seemingly again, whilst the numbers were down this week, over the long term, NXT is still favouring quite well. Now, a couple of bits of AEW news too, heading into the weekend and moving forward. First of all, AEW Collision, because the Maximum Male models are here to possibly take over AEW, well, at least once. Fightful Select are reporting they have learned the Maximum Male models, now known as MXM, are booked for this weekend's AEW Collision show in Youngstown, Ohio. Now, Fightful say they're not sure what their creative plans are or if they're going to be there to speak to AEW or anything like that. However, as of this week, they were planned to be at the show. Now, Mace and Mansoor had talks with TNA Wrestling in recent months and also made a trip to Uganda to appear in SGW. Mansoor was also backstage at the Los Angeles AEW Dynamite taping recently, but they are set to be at Collision this weekend. And finally, speaking of former WWE tag team, the grizzled young veterans Zach Gibson and James Drake weren't all elite during their first AEW match, but that could possibly change. The grizzled young veterans duo worked the April 27 episode of AEW Collision in a losing effort against the Acclaimed. The appearance prompted inquiries regarding their status with the company and contract status in general, but they've not appeared on AEW television since then. Now, Fightful Select say they've been told there has been ongoing AEW contract talks between the two sides, but that as of last week, it wasn't a slam dunk that they'd end up there. All Elite Wrestling does maintain an interest, though, in the duo. They've also appeared numerous times for TNA Wrestling, but had been working there without contracts. They finished up in the company for the time being back in March. But there you go, guys. This is the latest pro wrestling news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe bottom right-hand corner. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.